Welcome to the Cardboard Stacker. In this episode, I'll take a look at Story War, a storytelling party game where players get to make stuff up. In addition to the base game, I will also briefly cover the deluxe edition. Story War was designed by Tom McLean and Brad O'Farrell, arts by Von Duswain, published by Cantrip Games and released in 2013. It's for ages 8 and up, plays around 30 minutes, retails for $25 and holds 3 to 8 people with 3 to 4 people for single play or 5 to 8 people for team play. Story War plays similar to games like Apples to Apples, where other players become the judge while the other players participate in a competitive discussion in order to win the judge's favor. The game uses 3 decks of cards. The blue deck contains items like this flying carpet. The green deck holds the various battlefields like arenas, castles, and other mythical or made-up places. And the red deck, which features the most important aspect of the game, contains the warrior cards. Setup is easy. Each player draws 3 red warrior cards and 2 blue item cards. In the beginning of a round, one player becomes judge and draws a battlefield card. In a 3 to 4 player game, each player will secretly select a character card from his or her hand that they think will win in the given setting. After character cards are revealed, players begin debating in an open discussion why their character would win in a battle against his or her opponents. During this time, players will have the option to play only one item card for their character. What you can say about your character is all up to you, and it's your job to influence the judge why your character would win. While you can say anything, the other players can challenge your logic and let the judge decide whether your argument is accepted or rejected. If a warrior has a slight disadvantage, it is turned sideways. If a warrior does not have a chance of winning, then it's turned face down, indicating it's defeated in the match. These effects are determined during the discussion and are on the whim of the judge whether or not these effects have taken place. Before the winner is decided, each player will have their last say for their character. The round concludes with the judge recapping the battle and decides on one winner. The loser's cards are discarded and the winner keeps the winning card as a victory point. The judge's turn is passed to the next player, and all players refresh their hands drawing cards until they have 3 warriors and 2 items. The game ends when everyone has judged 2 battles and the player with the most victory cards becomes the winner. While I could hire actors for this demonstration, I will instead give a mock playthrough. The judge draws a hot springs, then all players selects a card from their hands, and at the same time reveals them. The ghost player says his ghost is undead, making it invincible. The other 2 players claim the ghost could not do well in battle since it will have a difficult time being aware of itself in the daylight. So the judge rules that the ghost is unable to fight during the daylight because the hot spring card shows it's clearly day. The Kraken player plays the item card the Tempest in a teapot to take out the Minotaur, and says the hot spring is the Kraken's domain, giving him the extra advantage. The Minotaur player argues that it cannot be the Kraken's domain since it's too hot and the Minotaur is agile enough to break the Kraken's teapot before the Kraken could use it. The judge calls for final arguments. "I can't see why my ghost would lose," says the ghost player. "I know my Minotaur will win as long as he breaks that teapot and quickly takes out that Kraken," said the Minotaur player. "I have the clear advantage to win against my opponents. The ghost can't fight during the day, and the Minotaur won't be fast enough to stop my Kraken's Tempest," said the Kraken player. So the judge gathered his thoughts. It was a bright and sunny day at the hot springs. Our 3 contestants, the ghost, the Minotaur, and the Kraken, arrived for a battle to the death. Upon arrival, the ghost forfeits the battle for logical reasons and leaves the hot springs. The Minotaur, not afraid of the enormous Kraken, leaps right in front of it with its huge sword. Just then, the Kraken took out its favorite teapot and opened the lid, releasing gale force winds that sends the Minotaur flying into the sky, which he would later fall to his death. The winner is the Kraken. Okay, maybe I'm not the best storyteller, but you get the point. You can be as elaborate or straightforward as you want, it's your choice. You can also play teams with 1 judge and an even number of player teams. If there's an even number of players, say a 6-player game, with 1 judge, 2 teams of 2, and 1 remainder, The odd player across from the judge is called the Maverick. The Maverick will pick a team he wants to battle with. Teams may only play one item on their team, and the Maverick cannot play any items. The deluxe versions add a bit of pop culture reference to the mix, and it's a nice touch to the game. The box is nice and sturdy and holds all the cards unsleeved, including the expansion. The card stock is not the best, but I really like the artwork of the cards, and Swain does a very good job of making each card consistent and playful. The pros of gameplay are it's simple to play and teach, a great game for the creative and talkative crowd, and a cool feature that is in the game is that pictures and flavored text are an essential part of the game. Unfortunately, there are too few cards, making the game have a low replay value. It's not for all game groups, and the judge can make an irrational or illogical judgment. Story War is really for people who love games like Apples to Apples and Once Upon a Time. While I really like the art, gameplay style, and the creative narrative implications, there are just not enough cards. Yes, I understand that at least one expansion is coming out, which means that the whole package of this game is incomplete. But I will review it as it is. Let me show you something. Story War with the deluxe box holds around 200 cards. In comparison, Apples to Apples To Go has 270 cards, Snake Oil with over 350 cards, Consensus with 400 cards, and Cards Against Humanity, a whole lot more. Now let's remove the blank cards from Story War. The game only has 100 cards. Even though my Kickstarter came with a bit more cards with the deluxe expansion of the game, it came with a whole lot more blank cards than expected. I think these cards should have been filled with art for the game. I don't think I will even use any of these blank cards, since it's rare for me anyway to make custom cards for a game. So I will agree with other reviewers that there is simply none enough here. Combinations of cards do not fill in the need for freshness, but most other games in this gaming genre also has this flaw. This includes games like Dixit, Apples to Apples, and even charade games. In any game group I played with, none of the players desired to play more rounds once a deck of cards was reshuffled. I think the game is good if you find the right creative people for it, or at least people who have a good knowledge on fantasy themes. I think it's a better game when you try to be as logical as possible, but if a player goes off from the common norms of creatures and items, he or she should back it up. This will of course come from the arts and the flavored text of each card. I found that there wasn't any problems of justifying what a creature, thing, or place can or cannot do, though I feel there can be an illogical choice on selecting a winner. Most of the time the judges, including myself, tries to be as logical as possible, but when any judge doesn't care about what happened during the discussion, I think it's not fun for the players seeing something they work hard arguing about turn into nothing. I tried it both ways, and I think it's better to be as logical as possible. Though previously announced during the Kickstarter with other ways to play, I'm waiting to see that happen. I hope those modifications will give a bit more value to the game. So my final thoughts are, the product is okay and I wish there was more. The art is good, the game is good, but I'm asking for more and I know more is coming. I'm a little hesitant recommending Story War to any group, even to ones with a good sense of creativity. As more cards come out, I hope this game gets better. But if anyone you know has a copy, you might want to give this a shot. Just one shot. This is the Cardboard Stacker, and see you next time.